Hello, this is Bill Steffen. I hope you're having a good day so far. I want to start out doing something a little different this morning. I want to talk a little bit about the long range outlook, which indicates some pretty cold air heading our way during the early part of December, maybe the first week of December. A couple of slides to share with you here. And again, if you'd like to read through all of this or look it over in a little bit more detail, you probably want to pause the video here and take a look at it. This is from the National Weather Service, and specifically out of the National Weather Service in Duluth. On the left side, we have the 8 to 14-day outlook. I'm going to show that again here toward the end of the show. And on the right, we have the 3 to 4 week temperature outlook. I haven't shown this very often, but it indicates what might be coming long-term down the road. And sometimes I look at it and I go, oh, who knows if that's going to happen or not. But this time, I think we're pretty sure about this. Some of the meteorologists that I read online are pretty well convinced that this is going to be happening. So what we're seeing in the 8 to 14-day outlook, we're still above normal in terms of temperature, but that's for the 7-day period combined, November 24 to 30. And what that would indicate to me is that the first part of that period, the 24th through the 27th, temperatures will probably be a little bit warmer than average, which is the pattern that we've had here through the fall. And then as we get into the very end of that period, maybe November 29, 30, and then into the first 12 days of December, temperatures here will get colder than average. And as our averages continue to dip, that's going to be a little bit of a change. Now, the Pragues also show above normal precipitation in the 8 to 14-day outlook. That will likely start out as rain and then change over to some snow. I'm not seeing any big blizzards coming our way at this point in time, but if you can look on the panel in the lower right, it says week 3 to 4 precipitation outlook. You can see the above going through the Ohio River Valley and just barely south of us. So if this pattern of cooler than average temperatures combines with above average precipitation, that could certainly give us some snow here in West Michigan. I checked with the European model, and it's not giving us any real heavy amounts of snow. We usually, that would give us something a little bit more substantial if we expected a big snowstorm here, but something to keep an eye on. But the overall trend is for colder weather and some snow for the first week of December. And we have one more picture to share with you here, and let's take a look at that. This is from Duluth, and it shows an area that we're keeping an eye on for the potential of a snowstorm at the end of November, Wednesday, November 26th through Sunday, November 30th. And you can see it's outlined by purple on that map right there. If you were to draw a line from Dubuque to Milwaukee to Mount Pleasant, north of there is the area that could see some more significant snow with a low pressure system coming up into southern lower Michigan. Now it's kind of far away, so don't put too much stock in this right now. And again, I would think the heavier snow would be in northern lower Michigan and the UP if this were to come to fruition. If they're on the Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Holland, Kalamazoo area, we would probably be warm enough that much of the precipitation would fall in the form of rain. And keep in mind, at the end of November, the average high temperature is still 40. I think it's 41 at the end of the month. So we're still apt to be seeing episodes of rain here. And if we do get snow in November, it usually doesn't last forever right on through the winter. All right, let's get back into current weather a little bit here, and then we'll talk more about long range here at the end. These are Monday's high temperatures. I want to show you that picture. Isn't that beautiful? That's the camera that the city of Holland has at Windmill Island, and it really takes some nice pictures. We've been able to watch as the trees over on the left side have turned red and fallen off the trees there. In the sunshine, there were people walking around. Of course, you've got the big windmill there. De Zwaan is what it's called, which translates to the swan. And there's the Dutch villages that are there. There's really, really a nice, pleasant place to walk around on a beautiful sunny day like that. But you can see the temperatures here were mostly in the mid-40s. You can kind of go down the list there. And it was colder in the northern part of our state. Gaylord only got 2 degrees above the freezing mark today for a high of 34. Muskegon Beach and South Haven Beach, low 40s. And inland, where the wind wasn't coming directly off the lake, it was just a few degrees warmer. Okay, our climate data for today, our sunrise and sunset time continue to show daylight shrinking. Sunset's about 5:15 and rises at 7:38. We have 9 hours and 39 minutes of daylight, and as I've said, that's going to shrink to about 9 hours and 30 seconds on December 21st. The average high and low temperature is now 46 and 32. Record high temperature 70 in 1953 and in 2016, 9 years ago. And the record low temperature 11 in 1959. We had some cold air to start winter that year for sure. The picture there is from earlier in the day on Monday, and you can see the waves calming down just a little bit. The next couple of days, we're going to see some fairly light winds, and so the lake should be fairly calm, and then that will pick up again here as we move toward the middle of the week and beyond. Okay, lake forecast here for the day tomorrow calls for an east wind and an offshore breeze, 5 to 15 knots tops, probably closer to the 5 to 10. Waves just calm to 1 foot. Water temperatures 45 at the Holland Channel and 48 at Reed's Lake. And that's a picture of the Muskegon Channel, bright blue sky reflecting the color, or bright blue sky, and the channel there reflecting the color of the sky. Water is clear, of course. It doesn't have a color, and it will reflect the color of the sky. It'll look gray on a cloudy day, and it'll look blue on a clear day like this. Okay, let's take a look right now at, let's move on here. I don't think we want to look here at this 66-hour precipitation map. You can see one system coming down, producing some precipitation from South Dakota across Minnesota and into Wisconsin, and then it weakens a little bit as it comes into Michigan. A second system creates an arc of precipitation from Texas up through the Ohio River Valley and out to Maryland and Delaware. And then it's still raining in the west, and that's pretty amazing, the amount of rain that they've had out there. Let's take a look at some of the rain in the southwestern U.S., and that's our next graphic here. There's a place called Whiskeytown in California, 2.86 inches. Sugarloaf not far behind. San Luis Obispo at 1.9. Death Valley, that's the Stovepipe Wells, so it's not down at Furnace Creek, but over an inch of rain fell in Death Valley. That's going to produce some pretty nice wildflowers, I bet, come springtime. Oxnard is where the National Weather Service office for Los Angeles is located. Las Vegas, Nevada at 0.7 of an inch. That's a pretty good downpour for them. And Los Angeles downtown added another 1/4 of an inch, a little over that. All right, let's take a look at snowfall across the United States and show you what's going on there. More heavy snow in the Sierra Nevada mountains, a little bit of snow in the Cascades, some snow scattered about the higher elevations of Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. You can see the snow that's coming through Minnesota, Wisconsin, and into lower Michigan. Let's zoom in a little bit with our next map and be able to show you that we're not expecting much less than an inch of snow, and it will likely melt as it hits the pavement here during the morning hours. But it may accumulate a little bit on the grass for a short time. And again, not a big system at all. Areas south of Grand Rapids may see a few hundredths more precipitation than north. But again, not a big storm. But really this morning, a little bit of rain and snow mixed, certainly likely over much of the area. Okay, there is an advisory in effect. We'll take a look at that. The purple colors are counties where there's a winter weather advisory. And you can see how the National Weather Service can really pinpoint this now in some cases. Instead of broad brushing the whole area, it can really pinpoint where that snow is going to be falling. And here we're a little bit south of Minneapolis to Red Wing, Minnesota. It's north of Rochester into Wisconsin there and north of the Wisconsin Dells. And then this system weakens as it comes east, and that's why we don't have any advisories for West Michigan. We're not going to see that much snow here. Excuse me. All right, some storm reports on the day today. We didn't have many. There were 3 reports of severe criteria hail, barely, in Missouri, central Missouri. And there was a conflict of atmosphere there, I guess you could call it. Joplin, Missouri had a high temperature of 77, upper 70s there. And temperatures in the northern part of Missouri were in the upper 40s, low 50s here much of the day, and a couple of thunderstorms sprung up, and some of them produced some hail. Did not see any reports of any downed trees or wires with any of the storms that occurred today. Now, over the next couple of days, there's a couple of marginal risk areas on the map. We'll take a look at those for you. First of all, from Illinois today into southern Indiana and Kentucky, there is a marginal or level 1 risk in the dark green color there for a severe criterion thunderstorm, and that would be an isolated marginal report of hail or gusty winds. And while they won't be severe, more thunder showers are possible for Southern California, Southern Nevada, and the state of Arizona. And then we turn to Wednesday. The Wednesday map shows that we have a marginal risk area across a good portion of Texas up to the Red River Valley, and a general thunderstorm risk into far southern Illinois. So we'll be tracking a few thunderstorms down there as well. A few of those could also produce some rather heavy rain. Our headlines look like this for the West Michigan area. There'll be a chance of snow and rain today, especially during the morning. It should be fairly light, but the snow may accumulate for a little bit on the grassy areas. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 30s at or above freezing. Much of the time the precipitation will be falling. I think roads will be mainly wet. There could be some snow on the grass. Cool day, only low to mid 30s today. Average high temperatures are low to mid 40s, so today's going to be about 10 degrees cooler than average, and mostly dry weather shaping up here now from Wednesday through Saturday of this week. That's a bit of a change. About a week ago, we thought we might get a rather rainy end of this week, and now it looks like the rain is going to be mainly staying to the south of the state of Michigan across Indiana and Ohio. Taking a look at what we expect here for the day today, we're calling for temperatures in the mid 30s, low temperatures upper 20s. Look for a little rain-snow mix here during the day, a little bit of snow here during the early morning. Humidity should stay high, winds out of the east at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And we'll take a look at the high temperatures for today across the area. Only mid to upper 30s today. We've got upper 30s for down in Battle Creek, Kalamazoo, 42 for South Bend. It'll be all rain there. I don't think South Bend sees more than a trace snowflake or two, and that would be about it. As you travel to the north, there won't be much going on there either. Temperatures ought to be pretty similar. Traverse City is actually going to be a couple, 3 degrees warmer than Grand Rapids. They may actually have a break or two in the clouds up there. And temperatures in the upper 30s to near 40 across upper Michigan. And then during the day on Wednesday, we warm up a couple of degrees. I think we'll be back to the low to mid 40s in all inland areas, with the exception of Gaylord, and 46 down in Chicago, 44 Detroit, and low 40s up across the. By the way, that noise is the cat playing with something. I don't know what it is, but one of the cats is having a ball with whatever she's pushing around right now. Okay, let's go on and talk about the 5-day forecast here. An 80% chance of a little mix here, mainly during the morning, only 36 this afternoon. We'll call it mostly cloudy and 42 on Wednesday. We could reach 50 here on Thursday and maybe even come close to that on Friday. 20-30% chance of rain Thursday and Friday. That's mainly south of I-94. Much of the time it's going to be dry. And Saturday looking like a pretty good day. If you got some traveling to do on Saturday, look for temperatures in the mid 40s with partly to mostly sunny skies. And we end with the 8 to 14 day outlook once again. And again, this is a 7-day period, so that's an average of what those 7 days would look like. We're still in the light orange here for slightly above average, but that blue area is moving east each and every day. And I think, again, we got a pretty good bet for some below freezing temperatures and some snow for the first week of December. And that may hold. I had thought all along, even back in the summer, that we would have a cold December here, and that we'd have what could be an early start to the ski season. We may be seeing probably not Thanksgiving time, but as we get into the second week of December, we may be able to open up some of the ski resorts here and get you going down the slopes. All right, we got some extra slides here from Alex and Michelle, which are kind of interesting. I have seen some of them. I have not seen some of them, but a comment here. Hey, Bill, I remember the Kmart's, went to 28th and Buchanan, Plainfield, and North Kent Mall, and 68th US 131. I think they closed in that order. Yeah, only remember the actual flashing blue light from younger days. Yeah, I remember that with my mom taking me to Kmart. But always loved the subs. Indeed, they were excellent there. And, nothing lasts forever in this world. Kmart had its place. We had a Kmart at North Kent Mall, and I used to go over there. In fact, one time I think I can remember actually that we did it was in the North Kent Mall. It wasn't really but the Kmart was connected to the wall, to the mall there. I remember picking up something. I remember doing Christmas shopping at the Kmart there, and I had a list that I brought in and doing that. That was after I first got here. I might have still been single at that time. That was in the mid 1970s. Okay, thanks for that. Appreciate the comment. November 18th, 1928, Steamboat Willie was released. Wow. Of course, this was a cartoon from the great Walt Disney. Started out as a comic book, and he drew the pictures and then put the pictures together and ran them real fast, showing movement, and it became a cartoon. First fully synchronized sound cartoon. First appearance of Mickey Mouse, and it is public domain as of last year. I think that goes for 95 years or something like that. But that was really neat. Interesting to see. And of course, Disney went on to make Disney World and Disneyland, and really brought a lot of smiles to a lot of happy kids. Okay, let's go on to the next slide here. November 18th, 1958, the SS Carl D. Bradley sank in Lake Michigan. Structural failure because of wear and tear and weak brittle steel, with weather contributing. This was en route from Gary, Indiana to Manitowoc, Wisconsin, which is where the ferry goes to after it leaves Ludington. It goes to Manitowoc, and that was a shame. I think we have one more slide on the Bradley. 33 of the crew members passed away, 2 survivors. Of course, the water would be really cold at that time of year. Water temperatures were in the 40s, so you wouldn't be able to last too long out there. Freighter was owned by the Bradley Transportation Company and was used to haul limestone. Interesting. Okay, let's go on to the next one. That's a big ship. I was working in Petoskey circa 1997, had a painting of the Bradley in my office. A gentleman kept looking at the painting. He said, "I grew up in Rogers City. I was in 5th grade. I can still remember the principal taking kids out of the room when it was confirmed their father had not survived. Everybody in Rogers City remembers where they were in November, on November 18. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, that's certainly a tragedy, and that it affects so many other people. And everybody in Rogers City remembers where they were November 18. So the entire town there looks back and remembers that event. Thank you, John. All right, let's go on and see what's next. November 18, 1922, U.S. Senator Truman Newberry resigns. I'm not familiar with this. Newberry defeated Henry Ford for U.S. Senate in 1918. He served from 1919 to 1922. He was the U.S. Secretary of the Navy before he was the senator. He spent $175,000 to win the seat. That's a drop in the bucket compared to what they spend today. Far more than the $10,000 allowed by federal law and $3,750 allowed by Michigan law at the time. James Joseph Couzens was appointed to the seat. He was mayor of Detroit before he became a senator. So I'm not familiar with that, but that was a little over 100 years ago when that happened. All right, let's go on to the next slide here. See what else we got. November 18, 1927, Hank Ballard, born in Detroit. Hank Ballard recorded the original version of The Twist in 1959, but Chubby Checker made The Twist famous only a year later when he covered it. Ballard was born in Detroit and raised in Alabama. That's kind of interesting. Sometimes, the second version of a storm or a song like that comes out and makes a lot more money than the original version of it. And that's certainly what happened here in this case. Big hit. All right, that was in 1960 when Chubby Checker had that hit. All right, on to the next slide. Excuse me, the next slide here, and see what we got from Bernie Engels. That is a beautiful sunset. Could be sunrise. We don't know for sure, but the sun just barely below the horizon there, and what it's doing is it's illuminating the bottom of the clouds there, the little tiny raindrops and snowflakes that our clouds are made up of. Get that reddish orangish glow. And like I said, it probably looked like that for no more than just a few minutes before the sun would set farther below the horizon and not be able to give you that kind of a view. So thanks, Bernie. Appreciate it. Beautiful picture. We have a couple more pictures to share with you here. This is from John Meppelink in Zephyr Hills, Florida. Zephyr Hills, by the way, is about 30 miles northeast of Tampa. And you can see the trailers there have the awnings on them. Normally, Florida doesn't get too many really severe thunderstorms. They get an occasional hurricane when you really have to tie things down there. But normally, those awnings will stay in place. And you can see the beautiful cumulus clouds right there, dark where the sunlight is not getting through the cloud very well, and white where the sunlight is bouncing off the clouds there and coming back to where it's in view. Zephyr Hills is an interesting place. The average high temperature down there in January is 72. So, just perfect for the snowbirds down there. The warmest it's ever been in Zephyr Hills, there's a weather station there, is 103. And the coldest it has ever been is 16. So on very rare occasion, it does get down below the freezing mark there in the wintertime, but those days are few and far between. It's a nice place to spend the winter, and I guess the summer's pretty good there as well. Now we have one more picture to share with you here. This is from John Doherty. Actually, we have a couple of them, and these are some of the beautiful stars out there that you can see in the sky. Of course, artificial light dims the view of the stars, but if you get out in the hinterland where there isn't much artificial light, you can see that better. A sun, with the exception of just a couple of planets scooting by, each one of the stars that you see is a sun that's far away. And it's estimated that there are about 100 billion stars or suns just within our own galaxy. 100 billion suns. And who knows if there are planets revolving around some of those or how many and what might be out there. But it's interesting to speculate, and certainly gives you an idea of how small you really are compared to the size of the universe out there. Thanks, John, and happy day to you up there in Benzie County. We have a picture from John Scully to share with you as well, and this is a beautiful sunset. Isn't that amazing? Right at Lake Michigan. The sun setting there and just a few scattered clouds which are in the process of dissipating. And the waves kind of starting to calm down a little bit here. There not many people walking on the sand this time of year, but a pretty place to spend an evening and to watch a sunset. And of course, those sunsets coming pretty early here during late November and the month of December. So I think we are done. Yes, here's me with the snow there. I'm looking forward in that picture to December when the snowflakes will be flying here in West Michigan. I want to thank you so much for staying with us. Tell your friends about what we do here if you like, and tell them we got some information up about what's going to be happening in early December if you want to check that out. Once again, have a great day, and thanks for staying with us here until the end.